That revised agreement has not been tabled here in Parliament. So we don't know what's going on.
Information.
And also,
There's
Parliament has got
information.
to approve. I'll take the information.
I thank you, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition in Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, just in relation to the point that the Leader of Opposition is bringing to this House. Madam Speaker, in the 10th Parliament, I happen to have been in the Committee of National Economy that processed this loan. Madam Speaker, one of the critical issues that the committee grappled with, first of all, just to add to what Honorable Jonathan Odur said, was that the Honorable Minister of Health was very hesitant in supporting this loan before our committee.
Which Minister of Health? Was it Acheng?
At that time, the Honorable Jane Ruth Acheng.
Oh, Opendi.
No,
I want it on record.
The Honorable Jane Ruth Acheng,
Not Opendi.
appeared.
Not
No,
Opendi.
the Honorable Pendi was a Minister of State for Health.
Okay.
Now, Madam Speaker, may I just, with your permission, elaborate on this point? At that point, the Ministry of Health themselves were a little bit worried about the competence and the experience of the leader in as far as the joint purpose vehicle was concerned. Because that was Pinetti Enrica. Madam Speaker, when the committee got into a state where we had to make a decision, we unpacked the JPV, the joint purpose vehicle, and at that time, the committee was persuaded that ROCO was still very competent in as far as construction was concerned. In the JPV, we had been made to understand that Enrica would bring in, 1, technical expertise, 2, the competence. Whereas the person who was supposed to do the construction was the partner, who was ROCO. Madam Speaker, within 2 weeks of passing the loan here, ROCO was thrown out of the JPV. This brought in a challenge that Enrica did not have the competence to undertake construction because they were simply agents of persons who were supposed to supply us the equipment and train the experts that were supposed to work in the hospital. That is the reason, as of today, Enrica cannot take off from the aspect of construction because they do not have the capacity to undertake construction. Madam Speaker, as I informed the law, what therefore baffles this House is that if the total amount of the loan was $379 million, how possible is it that the Ministry of Finance continued to pay up to $150 million, and yet the total amount included equipment, included training of specialists, included transfer of knowledge, which are other aspects other than the construction? Number 2, Honorable Law, the other question other than simply reduction in the scope of works, the loan that this House passed included a partner in the JPV. Which partner? That was ROCO. This House understood would undertake the construction. Who then, other than this Parliament, authorized Enrique Pinetti to undertake the aspect of construction? It means that already the JPV or the agreement with Uganda had been abused by the other person, and therefore it should have collapsed. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank you, Honorable Law.
Honorable members, thank you so much, Honorable Rico, on that. As you conclude the law, Honorable Chivumbi already asked for the audit report, which is before the auditors, and then we'll also expect a report from the team that is going there on Wednesday. We'll expect a report on that, and then we'll also need the certificates from finance that they based on what release of the monies.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, and for the information the colleagues have raised. Madam Speaker, as we speak now, there is no contractor on site because ROCO abandoned the site. However, as you remember, in December, 2.7 billion shillings through a supplementary was allotted to supervise ongoing construction. Which construction? I think we are taking the taxpayer for granted in very annoying ways, because you're saying we need money, 2.7 billion, just to supervise construction. But there's no constructor on site. He abandoned. Our hope, lastly, on this very issue, Right Honourable Speaker, we would like to move Parliament. Can we begin to allocate this money to the referrals that we have in this country, to the health center force that are functional, they are operating, but they are struggling with shortages of drugs, medical equipment, and so on. At least there we know we are sending money where it is needed.
And the staff, for instance, we pass along organ transplant. They don't have staff. The dialysis, they don't have staff. The ICU of Mulago does not have staff. And yet we have the best equipments in this country. So we should put that money in that. Honorable members, Lob, thank you so much.
Madam Speaker, I request for 2 minutes to wrap up. You did communicate about rationalization, and I want to thank you for pointing out some very critical issues that we've been grappling with. Legally, the wording of these bills, it's going to raise unnecessary legal challenges.
And that is going to be responded to.
Yeah. Number two, Right Honourable Speaker and members, you see, these entities were created for efficiency. Now that we are saying, let's send them back to the ministries, what guarantee do we have that efficiency has been created? So all is going to be well. An example, Right Honourable Speaker, REA was rationalized.
Now. You've started on anticipation.
I was just giving a general picture in response to your
because you're still going to speak. You're still going to speak as a Lob after they have presented.
That's right. I was just giving this example to paint a general picture so that as we are debating, Right Honourable Speaker, we think about these critical issues. So I was saying, when REA was rationalized and merged with the Ministry of Energy, the ministry actually decided to reallocate that money which REA was meant to receive to other activities. So the activities that REA was undertaking have come to a halt. So as we are saying, rationalizing, let's take them back to the ministries for efficiency to happen, it does not seem to be the case. And Right Honourable Speaker, government needs to come clean. What exactly are they trying to do? Even as they are rushing Parliament, let's deal with this issue very critically. We need to be guarded ourselves as Parliament so that we are not run through a brick wall.
But by the way, nobody is rushing Parliament. The issue is, yes, if we are to rationalize, if we are to remove these entities, some of these entities, we are in a budgeting process. When you look at the budget circular, none of these entities has been budgeted for. It has not been budgeted for. So we need to act as a house. If you want these institutions to remain without money and we say, okay, let's also sit back, because the power to rationalize is on us. So it is us to determine whether we rationalize and have the money put there. But now the fact that finance has decided not to give these people money, what do? We need to come in as an institution. Honorable members.
Right Honourable, as I wrap up, this is... Right Honourable Speaker, I actually
can you have a seat?
Right Honourable Speaker, you're right, the power to rationalize lies with Parliament. The executive seems to be taking that away from us because they have rationalized on the financial end. They're saying we are not budgeting for these ones, so it's as if Parliament is being arm twisted. Let's retain that power and we process all of this work without being arm twisted by the executive. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Member, thank you so much, Lob. In the public gallery this morning, We have students and lecturers from Kiambogo University. You're most welcome. Join me in receiving them. They are here represented by the Leader of Opposition, Honorable Joel Senyonyi. Welcome. And Honorable Shami Malende. Thank you so much for coming. Stand up and we see you. You're most welcome. Thank you so much for coming. This is your parliament. On the public gallery this side, we have a delegation from Bukedea Sub-County Women Choirs. Please stand up. Have you seen my women? My women, please. Those are all yellow. They are represented by Honorable Opolot Ishagi, Chairman Budget. He's a very good man. You bring him back. Represented by Honorable Ikojo John Bosco, who is the Chairman Borrowing. He's a good man. And then represented by Anita Mong. That one is an post. Thank you so much for coming, and this is your parliament. Honorable members, can we have an explanation from the Minister of Finance on the issue of certificates? James, I'm going to give you to talk, because I know you're going to talk on that one. There's a procedure matter. Is it on an post?
No, Madam Speaker, you proceed about seeking guidance because you have asked the Deputy Speaker to go to Ruboa.
With a team of members.
So I am wondering how reporting is going to be done, Madam Speaker. So that's procedure issue I wanted just for clarity.
The reporting will be done by the members. I want to see how they can refuse the Deputy Speaker to enter. Have you understood?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, while we laid the bills accompanied with the certificate of financial implications in accordance with Section 76 of the Public Finance Management Act, during the process of consideration of the bills, an issue arose regarding providing the committees with the certificate of financial implications, indicating the estimates of revenue and expenditure over the period not less than 2 years after the coming into effect of the bill when we pass it. Madam Speaker, we agree that in compliance with this section, all this information should be provided, and as I speak now, a copy of the bills capturing all this information is being delivered to your office, Madam Speaker. And I will...
Can I have the certificates?
I will be laying copies here shortly, Madam Speaker.
Can we have them? Honorable members, The Honorable Minister said he's going to have individual certificate in compliance with the section 76(2), and is going to lay on table. So, Honorable Minister, so could you, instead of wasting time taking them to my office, because it's a longer distance, can they just bring and we lay them on the table?
Much obliged, Right
Procedure.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, we realized there was a mess up. I don't want to say mistake. There was a mess up, and that is what is being corrected. It was an oversight, maybe. Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister of Finance for that information. However, for the bill to be a bill before the House for amendment, it must be accompanied by a certificate of financial regulations. Does he mean that now we don't have the bills? We don't have them because there is no certificate. That's what
We
the law says.
agreed the bills be sent to the committees. It is from the committees that we've realized there was a mistake on the certificates, which must be corrected. And the Honorable Duru the other day offered a very free.
Right Honorable Speaker, there is another mistake there. The government presented non-existent act to be amended. The act
I have
means
told you, keep your cool. We are sorting out issues one by one. We've sorted the one of financial implication, certificate of financial implication. Can we have the one of Attorney General? Yes.
Madam Speaker, you recall that when those bills were brought here, I actually did raise on a matter of procedure regarding the certificates. Madam Speaker, I don't want to go into what has been administratively handled. I sit on the Committee on Legal. I know the committee has been in touch with you. But
do you
the
mean?
procedure, the committee, yes. The committee did
I've
even,
not been in touch with the committee as a person.
as a speaker, Madam Speaker, sorry. Madam Speaker, this is a very, very serious matter, grave. Kindly allow the Attorney General to tell this Parliament that a bill that was brought in that fashion will not have to first be withdrawn for it to be introduced. I want Madam Speaker, the Attorney General, to tell us, because this is a precedent that we are setting as Parliament, that they can throw documents and then begin correcting them haphazardly like they brought them. So I will be, Madam Speaker, if you allow, comforted. If the Attorney General says, no, they don't need to first withdraw the bills, they just bring things the way they like.
There is no bill that is being withdrawn. We are correcting what was being done, what we have. Attorney General.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, I'll first answer Honourable Semju's issue. The bills that were here were presented with certificates of financial implication, albeit they were not sufficient and they are being amended. I am of the considered opinion that that amendment would suffice. On the second issue, Right Honourable Speaker, in respect to the title that Honourable Eddie Quizer has raised, the bills that were presented this House are titled the rationalization, for example, the rationalization of government agencies, for example, Trade Sector Amendment Bill 2024. Some of these bills that are, most of these bills that are before Parliament on RAPEX seek to repeal, amend, or enact more or affect more than one act. This can be described normally as a large bill affecting different acts, generally called smaller bills within that thing on the broad topic before the House. The subject of all these bills is rationalization of government agencies. And the general rule is that Parliament has the power to make laws on any matter for the peace, order, or development of good governance in Uganda. That's under Article 79 of the Constitution. And to enable Parliament process these bills efficiently and effectively, the rules of procedure were put in place. And the rules of procedure do not refuse or bar Parliament from handling bills of this nature. In fact, the bills that had been brought earlier were even more omnibus, but now they have been reduced into sector spaces. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, the RAPEX bills may have disparate matters that are not necessarily directly related to the matter of the subject, but are in respect to the general government policy. The common form of the RAPEX bills that are before you, Honourable Speakers and colleagues, covers disparate matters, and this can be done in miscellaneous bills. Such bills deal with amendments of laws related or unrelated to the subject matter that require that demands of government policy to be addressed. Honourable colleagues, Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, a good example of a law such as this one is the Law Reform Miscellaneous Amendment Act of 2023, which we just recently passed. In one act, we amended, repealed over 90 acts of Parliament. Another law that has been passed by this House is the Law Revision, Penalties in Criminal Matters, Miscellaneous Amendment Act. That act affects so many other acts, all of them in respect to a similar subject, which will be the penalties. Similarly, the Business Licensing Miscellaneous Repeals Act 2015 repealed redundant business licenses under several amendments, including the Produce Protection Act, the Fish Act, Hides and Skin Export Duty Act, Rivers Act, and the Companies Act. The Act also rationalized and simplified government business processes and practices and procedures under those laws to eliminate the multiplicity and overlap of business licenses. Whereas the RAPEX bills that are before you, Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, touches upon several laws and matters, all these bills fall under the ambit of the law as matters connected to the government rationalization policy. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, the title of a bill is part of the bill. And when the executive proposes a title of the bill, it does not in any way deter Parliament from amending that bill. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, I refer you to Rule 124.20. It says, if any amendment to the title of the bill is made necessary by an amendment to the bill, it shall be made at the conclusion of the proceedings detailed above. But no question shall be put that the title as amended stands part of the bill, or shall any question be put upon enacting a formula. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, as you consider the various rationalization bills before you, I request that you also consider at the time, if you deem it appropriate, if you deem it necessary to amend the titles of the bill, we propose that the bills be referred to as they are presented before you, but we leave that to the House. I beg to submit, I think.
Shadow Attorney General.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, in making laws, particularly in this House, we have basically three guiding laws. One, the Constitution, two, the Acts of Parliament Act, and our rules of procedure. Right Honourable Speaker, a look at most of the bills before us actually refer to amendments in respect of existing acts of Parliament. And this kind of legislation that is omnibus in nature, other than the existing permitted laws, the law reform, Miscellaneous Provisions Act and yes.
I am hearing.
Yes,
May I multitask?
So, Right Honourable Speaker, other than the Law Reform Miscellaneous Provisions Act, this kind of omnibus amendment, of the Acts of Parliament is unprecedented. It not only contravenes our precedents here in this Parliament, but in my strong view and opinion, it contravenes both our rules of procedure and the Acts of Parliament Act. I actually pity, if we pass these bills as they are, I pity our students in law schools when they are making rigorous research, how they will come up to know the exact position of the various laws. I do not know why the Attorney General found it prudent to continue doing business in an omnibus way. There are 3 specific bills they have brought properly: the Constitution Amendment Bill, the Karamoja Development Agency Repeal, and the archives. I don't know why
Even
they decided,
NITAU.
and the NITAU. I don't know why they did not adopt the same procedure in respect of all these other laws. Because if, honestly, if you come up and say the rationalization of government agencies, trade sector amendment bill, do we have an act of parliament called the rationalization of government agencies? Do we have it? So what are we amending? So I will invite members of parliament to find this omnibus way of amending by way of repeal or amendment objectionable and precedented, and this house should not be vulgarized. I therefore invite members of parliament to reject
Thank you.
the explanation by the Attorney General.
Chair Legal.
Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I entirely associate myself with the submissions by Senior Counsel Wagaba in as far as the particular bills are concerned. I was also asking myself, and it's the same question I wanted to ask the Attorney General, as to whether we have that local denationalization that is supposed to be amended. Because you amend what exists. Now that there is no such a law, I heard him saying that at a committee level, we can change. That is very erroneous. We cannot change something that is wrong. That is one. So, 2, Madam Speaker, much as you said we're done with the issue of certificate of financial implications. Madam Speaker,
I said we are done with the correction of the certificates, that certificates must come per bill. Per bill.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, I wanted to also give an input as far as that is concerned. Whereas we are reading section 76, subsection 2, we must be alive to the fact that section 76(1) is the one that guides us. When do you need this certificate? The certificate is needed at the time when the bill is being introduced in the Parliament. Madam Speaker, there is no way a certificate can be amended when the bill has already been introduced. The proper way this can be done is for us to politely withdraw the bills, come here, introduce them in accordance with section 76 and rule 118 of our rules, so that as you're introducing the bill is accompanied by a sufficient certificate of financial implications. Otherwise what we are doing is just ping pong. It's just ping pong. Let's be honest to Ugandans. Let's do things as members of parliament. Let's do things as lawyers who know what to do, not just to appease people. Ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues, my view is that the Land Attorney General should advise the minister. I even advised the Minister of Public Service. I said I'm not the Attorney General, but as far as I'm concerned, the best you can do is to have these bills withdrawn, then come introduce them in accordance with the law. But for us to have the bills at the stage.
Honorable, not all these bills are going to be withdrawn. Not all of them. And raising your voice, actually, my ears are even becoming sick.
I apologize, but
Raising
when
your,
I'm discussing serious
raising
issues,
your voice is not a solution.
much obliged. Let me be a little bit low.
Honorable members, these, you can speak softly, but you speak a point. I want to ask Attorney General, I want to refer Attorney General to Rule 116. Attorney General, I want to refer you to Rule 116. Can I have some silence? Matters with no proper relation to each other shall not be provided for in the same bill. B. 2. A bill shall not contain anything foreign to what is long title import. My question is, are these matters related to each other that you have put together in one bill?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, laws are made to deal with a policy. All the laws, for example, I'll give you an example of the bill that I have before me. All the bills that are in this rationalization of trade
That is
sector,
which one?
trade sector, the long title reads, an act to repeal and to make amendments to certain acts of parliament establishing statutory bodies in the trade sector in order to give effect to the government program on rationalization of agencies and public expenditure and other related purposes. That's the long title. Right Honourable Speaker, I also wish to add for my learned friend, my highly respected Shadow Attorney General. I gave examples of these bills. And your response to this was that there was no bill, that there is no bill that this is amending. And I want to refer you, for example, to the business, no act that was being amended. I want to refer you to the Business Licenses Amendment Act of 2015, which I read to you here. There was no law that was called the Business Licensing Act. No, it wasn't. It is not there. It does not exist. And if it is there, I beg to be guided on it because I have read and I have not found it. So, right honourable colleagues,
honourable members, can you listen?
The purpose of a bill is to bring a policy into action, to actualize a policy. Now, when you want to actualize a policy on rationalization, you can bring a bill to deal with that. Now, to wonder how the students of law school will deal with this, I will tell you that just recently I did announce a completion of the law reform, law revision, where we reprint these bills to show the amendments. So when we make the amendment, for example, the miscellaneous amendments that we made here, we're not going to leave them on one statute book. We go on dealing with the reprints in these other bills. So that's an administrative matter in the Attorney General's chambers, and we'll handle it. But to say that it is not legally permissible, I have supplied you with 3 examples. Thank you.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Dur.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the procedural matter I want to raise relates to Rule 129, Sub-Rule 2. I have listened to what members have said, including some chairpersons of committees. In that rule, once a bill is referred to the committee, the only way for the committee to bring back information to us is through a report. And it is my opinion, Madam Speaker, that such wonderful ideas of how this bill, they look very ugly, they are deformed, they are defective, they cannot stand before the law, should actually come in the report. A committee of parliament properly directing its mind to the law and to the facts would come and report to us and throw these bills and ask the Attorney General to come with, I don't know, a garbage truck or something to take them back. That's what I would expect to come here. So I want to ask your guidance, Madam Speaker, in that respect, whether it is not procedurally correct that we stick by our own rules of procedure and ask each committee to process the bill, entertain them, and that is my point last time. For me, I don't mind whether they have brought this or that, but the committee must direct its mind and then report to us the things we are discussing here and say at this stage, Parliament cannot proceed because the committee thinks these are A, B, C, D, and the Attorney General will go back and consult and bring back.
Honorable members, why we are raising this issue is because the Attorney General was actually chased away from legal. From legal, even the Minister of Finance was also chased away from finance. So that's why we are bringing up this issue. I've seen Kachumbala.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Colleagues, we must accept and we must remind ourselves that we are deliberating for the good of the country. And there is nothing wrong in us doing things properly. The minister here cited that the certificate of financial improvement, whatever it is being delivered.
Financial implication,
Financial
yes.
implication. That means it's not yet here. So we cannot reason that it's sorted. It's just being, either it's being processed, it's still on the way somewhere. It's not yet here. So that means it does not exist. The other part, when we say we must hurry because we're in a budget process and finance has not allocated money, you don't bury somebody before he's dead. Rationalization has not yet taken place. Where does finance get the authority not to allocate funds? That means doing things the other way around. Therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, with all respect to this House and the country, let Attorney General not just meander, but accept to go to the point. What is not ready is not ready. If it's withdrawing, withdraw and come back. The House is here, and we shall proceed, other than us doing things in a shabby way because we are forcing what is not there. I beg to move.
Honorable members.
Madam Speaker.
James.
Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, it is in the interest of the government that brought these bills to do their work. It is also in the interest of Ugandans that we process these bills in accordance with the law and in accordance with what the people of Uganda want. Madam Speaker, I would seek your guidance on this. Apparently, it is as if Parliament is pushing the government to do their work rightly when they seem to have done it properly, because, Madam Speaker, earlier on, they had brought an omnibus bill, which you sent them back some months ago. They went and did their work well, and I think they have done their best. That is their best they can do. That's how far they can move. I think the Attorney General has done the best. For us, let's go to the committees. Let's go to the committees, process the bills, come back and report. The speaker, when we bring the reports the way they are, we shall have analyzed their incompetencies or competencies. So when we continue pushing back and forth, it is as if we have interest. It is them that brought the bills here. Let's go back and have the reports. We throw them away if they don't tally with the law.
Honorable members.
Madam Speaker, for example, Madam Speaker, for example, why should we interrogate? Why should we interrogate the certificate of financial implication when they have already been tabled? Why should we interrogate them here? Let them interrogate them when we are at a committee level. If they are not there, let us throw them away.
Honorable members, Commissioner.
Much obliged, Honorable Speaker. Initially, I thought I had understood the challenge the Land Attorney General was facing, and I thought he would be committal on the issue of pending certificates and how much time he needed to have them delivered. Whether it's a problem in finance that the House can understand, because they are severable. If you look at the bills that are being bundled into omnibus, the certificates are severable, and therefore they must be separately be brought to the House. I thought the Land Attorney General would indicate to the House how many hours it needs that the House can set its spirit on the availability of the certificates. 2, the House needs to be properly informed that even when we are undertaking rationalization and budgeting at the same time, should there be a need to reverse, the PFME provides for a colligenda. And therefore, the hurry should not be an excuse, or budgeting should not be the excuse for hurrying a fraudy process. Because we are resetting for posterity, and therefore, if the Minister of Finance has an issue, I need to do a back filling after the rationalization. The colligenda for collection for clarifications. Therefore, and the shabby job here. Speaker, so will the Attorney General clarify what is missing and how much time he needs for us?
Amendment. Required amendment. I may have a bad car. So,
honorable members,
honorable
members,
this
that hand. Now, the ones that they are talking about are different. So,
the Commissioner has stated, Right Honourable Speaker, for the bills that are being brought by sector, I have guided finance that each bill that is being, each act that is being affected must have a severable report on its financial implication. I think that's what they are working on. Now, the issue of when they can bring them, the minister is here. I was hoping they would have them last week. I'm still hoping that they'll have them. But I've guided that if the bill has got several parts, it should have severable financial implications for each. Thank you.
Attorney General, the issue of the bundling of bills.
Right Honourable Speaker, I entirely agree with the Honourable Odur. Let the committees present the report with their view on the law, and let us also present our view on the law on those points, and the committee makes its findings. I beg sir.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, Honorable Duru gave a guidance. What Honorable Musazizi talked about, for him he wanted to correct the issue of the certificates. Which certificates is ready to lay? Then it is upon you in the committee to scrutinize what is required. If Attorney General is able to defend his position, let it be so. So can we first have the certificates laid? Can I first have the certificates?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have listened to Honorable Jonathan Odul. If the Attorney General can listen, I see them also quarreling there. Madam Speaker, when we were at the meeting of the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, the Attorney General actually was not chased. Our agreement with him was that these things can be corrected. The Attorney General, who is now running everywhere like a headless chicken, Madam Speaker, the Attorney General and Minister of Finance, they are just making your table dirty.
Honorable members, Attorney General and Finance are not dirty. They are not dirty, and my table has not been dirtied. It depends on how you define being dirty. Yes, honorable members. Okiror.
I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. There are two things I look at it from these two perspectives. I've done this categorization. There are bills which have the correct certificates of financial implication.
It is not an assumption. I have the reports.
Yes.
I have everything. Yeah.
Right Honorable Speaker, those bills which have those correct certificates of
Actually,
financial
the three.
implication,
I have NITAU. I have
even
KDA,
yes,
and archives.
I have had a benefit of looking at them, and surely those are bills that we can proceed with as the House. Then something, Right Honorable Speaker, we did have an interface. I sit in the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. We had an interface with Attorney General and the team. Attorney General, we agreed in principle. The concern that we had is actually a fundamental issue. I cannot advance. Let me retreat and consult with finance. But what came out in the media made it look like Attorney General was chased. It was never chased.
Okay, now it is being corrected. What next?
Now the issue of the certificates that is being corrected. This is my humble view. These bills were presented already and sent to the committees. The Committee of Legal. When it came
different committees.
Different committees. When these bills were presented to the committees, the certificates that accompanied them at the time had that challenge. Now we are now putting the correct certificates in compliance with Section 76.
2.
My humble legal view would be this, that these particular bills that now have rectified certificates of financial implications be first withdrawn and submitted accompanying these certificates. What we are about to do today, to lay a certificate without a bill, it may not be supported by our laws.
Honorable
Most
Attorney
obliged.
General. Attorney General.
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker.
Attorney General, on the view of Honorable Kiror.
Right Honorable Speaker, if the House pleases it that way, we'll be happy to do it.
Next item. Next item.
Item 3, Bill's second reading. The national records.
The bills with defective certificates of financial implications. Can you repeat what you said? Repeat what you said.
Right Honorable Speaker, the bills with defective certificates of Right Honorable Speaker, the bills with defective certificates of financial implications will be withdrawn and retabled.
When are you withdrawing?
Pardon?
Withdrawn.
Are withdrawn and will be resubmitted.
Madam Speaker, can he mention, can his, Right Honourable Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister, are you ready to retable them now with the certificates?
No, Madam Speaker, the proper procedure would have been for the Attorney General to specifically mention those bills which government has withdrawn, and of course seeking leave from this House to grant leave to withdraw. Then he will come at an appropriate time to retender them de novo.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Attorney General renders advice. The bills have sponsors. So my advice is that the bills with certificates of financial implications which are defective be withdrawn. That's my advice.
Honorable members, Honorable members, as we wait for Government Chief Whip to organize his troops, on withdrawal and retabling of their bills, I have bills which are ready. Can we go to the next bill?
Item 3.
Can we go to the next bill? They will name them. They will come and name them because they don't know. Can we go to the next bill?
Item 3. Item 3 on the order paper. Bill second reading. The National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024.
Honorable members, can we have the bill tabled by the Minister of Public Service?
Right Honorable Speaker and members of the House, I beg to move that the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 be read the second time. I beg to move.
Is the bill seconded? Seconded. Seconded by Silwanyi, Rosie, Mooma, a chair of local, Azar, Achan, Anyakun, by the whole front bench, and the Royal Guards. I can see you. Yes, I see to see me there, Professor Connie, Lillian. Would you love to speak to your motion? Honorable members.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Just a minute, honorable members. If you're going to continue making noise thinking I will first adjourn the House, don't lie yourselves. Don't. Because that's not my culture. I will not adjourn the House. We must process the business and I leave you to go to your committees. Okay. Speak to your motion.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, you will recall that Cabinet took a decision to merge, mainstream, and rationalize government agencies, commissions, authorities, boards, and public expenditure to facilitate efficient and effective service delivery. Now, the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 is one of the bills introduced in Parliament seeking to give effect to the government policy on rationalization of government agencies. This particular bill seeks to amend the current National Records and Archives Act of 2001 to mainstream the functions of the National Records and Archives Agency into the Ministry of Public Service. The rationale for mainstreaming the Archives Center is to avoid duplication of roles and functions between the agency and the ministry. Right Honorable Speaker, the general principle really is that the staff of the National Records and Archives Center are part of the ministry, one, because the agency was never put into operation in the first instance. The functions have been going on well. There are no cost implications involved. and therefore it is quite in order, Right Honorable Speaker, for the amendment to be carried out. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I now call the chair of the committee to give us a report.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. Honorable Speaker, before I embarked on this task, permit me to lay on table, 1, the report of the committee on the Public Service and Local on the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024. Permit me also to lay on table together the minutes of the committee meetings. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, permit me to present the report of the Committee on Public Service and Local Government on the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024. Right Honorable Speaker, the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 was read for the first time on Tuesday, 20th February 2024, and referred to the Committee on Public Service and Local Government for scrutiny in accordance with Rule 129.
Evans, come back to the house. Honorable members, don't leave other people. We are only going to handle one bill, then you go for lunch. Now, you know, he thought I didn't know his name.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. In accordance with Rule 129(1) of the Rules of Procedure of the Parliament of Uganda, the committee scrutinized the bill in accordance with the rules, as I mentioned, Rule 129(2), 3, and 4 of our Rules of Procedure, and now reports to this House as follows. Right Honorable Speaker, the National Records and Archives are a vital and valuable part of the country. In Uganda, keeping national records started way before independence in the 1950s. The records at the time were kept at the Protectorate, Secretariat, and Entebbe. After the Secretariat Archives was established under the Chief Secretary's Office, Secretary Office. When Uganda obtained independence in 1962, the records were transferred to the government of Uganda under the Department of Management Information Services in the Office of the President. In 1990, following the recommendation of the Public Service Review and Reorganization Commission report, the National Records and Archives were transferred from the Office of the President to the National Records Center and Archives under the Ministry of Public Service, where they are to date. In 2001, the National Records and Archives Act was enacted to provide for the rationalized and management of all government and other public records and archives, for the preservation, utilization, and disposal of such records and archives, and for other related matters. Under this Act, ministries, departments, agencies, and local governments must ensure that public records are well managed and copies of publications deposited in the National Archives. The Act further provides for the establishment of an agency called the National Records and Archives Agency to oversee the proper management of public records and archives. Much as the Act was assented to on the 7th of June 2001, and commenced on the 15th of June 2001, the agency was never operationalized, and the functions under the Act continue to be carried out by the Ministry of Public Service. On the 22nd of February 2021, under minute number 43, bracket CT 2021, Cabinet adopted a policy of rationalization where certain government agencies, commissions, and authorities would be merged, mainstreamed, or dissolved to reduce public expenditure and facilitate effective and efficient service delivery. One of the agencies affected by the RAPEX policy is the National Records and Archives Agency, which was established under the Act but was never operationalized or structured. Object and policy of the bill. Right Honorable Speaker, the object of the bill is to give effect to the government policy for rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure, RAPEX, which was adopted by the Cabinet on 22nd February 2021. The bill thus seeks to amend the National Records and Archives Act 2001, Act 12 of 2001, to dissolve the National Records and Archives Agency and to transfer the functions of the agency to the ministry responsible for public service. It should be noted at the onset that the National Records and Archives Agency was never structured or operationalized. Methodology. The committee held meetings with the Ministry of Public Service and the Department of National Records and Archives Management in the Ministry of Public Service. Right Honorable Speaker, Committee Observations and Recommendations. The committee made the following observations on the salient provisions of the bill. Clause 4, Interpretation. Clause 4 of the bill seeks to amend Section 2 of the Principal Act, the interpretation section. This amendment seeks to do away with all reference to the National Records and Archives Agency in the definition section to place the ministry in its stead. It is a consequential amendment to the dissolution of the agency whose functions are transferred to the ministry. The committee observed that Clause 4 is necessary. However, A, the definition of minister should be amended to speak to the ministry under Clause 6 of the bill, in bracket, ministry responsible for public service. And B, the word ministry needs to be defined under this clause because it is not defined in the Principal Act. The committee recommends that Clause 4 is adopted with the necessary amendments. Clause 5. Amendment of Section 5. Clause 7 proposes that the head note of Section 5, bracket functions of the agency, is substituted with function of the ministry. Clause 7 also proposes that the word agency in the provision is substituted with the word ministry. This clause shall, in essence, transfer the functions of the agency to the ministry. The committee observes that Clause 4 is a necessary amendment to mainstream the functions of the agency into the ministry and recommends that it should be adopted. Clause 8. Substituting the word director in the Principal Act. Clause 8 proposes that the word director, wherever it appears in the Principal Act, is substituted with the word ministry. The committee observed that the definition of director was deleted under Clause 4, so there is need to delete it from the entire Act, which has been done under this clause. However, the head note of Clause 8 is unclear insofar as it provides for Act of Principal Act and not an amendment of section in the Act or an insertion of a new clause in the bill. The committee recommends that Clause 8 should be deleted and provided for as an amendment of a section in the Act. Clause 14. Amendment of Section 18 of the Principal Act. Clause 14 of the bill proposes that Section 18(1) of the Principal Act is amended by substituting for the words is or are the words the ministries. The committee observes that this is a proper amendment to correct the grammatical error in the provision. However, 1. The grammatical error in section 18.3 should also be corrected, and 2. The cross-reference to section 25 in section 18.3 should also be deleted because section 25 has been repealed under clause 15. The committee recommends that clause 14 should be adopted with amendment. Clause 17. Amendment of section 31 of the Principal Act. Clause 17 of the bill amends section 31 of the Principal Act, which provides for the mandate of the ministry to make regulations. The purpose of this amendment is to remove the word advice or advisory committee and to improve on the drafting of section 31 of the Principal Act. The committee observes that section 25 of the Principal Act also provides for regulations by the minister to prescribe the fees that may be charged for the supply of copies, the certification of copies, and the provision of other services. However, section 25...
Procedure.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm sorry, somebody is whistling and saying best friend. But he's not my best friend, he's a member of parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Mapinduzi, who is the chairperson of the committee, is already talking about the clauses. I thought he was just going to give us the general recommendation, and at an appropriate time we'll go for the committee and look at clause by clause. Will it not be procedure right for him to summarize and we go to committee stage so that we go clause by clause? Thank you.
Thank you. That is from your chairman, Teso. I mean, actually, parliamentary, your best friend.
I take note of that advice, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you.
But just to correct, he's not my best friend. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends that clause 17 should be adopted with amendments to add the prescription of fees by regulation. Right Honorable Speaker, additional amendments by the committee. The committee recommends the following additional amendments to the Principal Act which were not captured in the bill. Section 7 of the Principal Act. Section 7 of the Principal Act stipulates the responsibilities of the creators of public records for their proper management, where Section 7A mandates the heads of organs of state to nominate a senior officer in each organ of state to superintend the action taken therein, respect of this act. The committee observed that the use of the word nomination is not reflective of the mandatory spirit stipulated in the section. The committee therefore recommends that Section 7 should be substituted to ensure that a senior officer is designated for that purpose and not merely nominated. Section 9 of the Principal Act. Right Honorable Speaker, Section 9 states that in respect of public records created, received, and maintained by public corporations and parastatals organization, the responsibilities set out in Section 7 and 8 of the Act shall be those of chairpersons of the boards of those corporation or organization. The committee observed that instead of chairpersons of the boards of those corporation or organization, it is pertinent that the accounting officers of the respective corporations, organizations, or are responsible for the mandate under Section 7 and 8, such as the creation and maintenance of documentation of their respective institutions for purposes of accountability. The committee recommends that the role assigned to the chairpersons of boards in Section 9 of the Principal Act be assigned to the accounting officers. Conclusion. Despite the establishment of the National Records and Archives Agency in the Principal Act, it is important to note that this agency was never operationalized. The functions of the agency that were envisioned under the Act have been and continue to be carried out by the Ministry of Public Service. Therefore, the intention of the rationalization of this agency under the bill and mainstreaming its function into the ministry is appropriate. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the committee recommends that the bill be considered for second reading, subject to the proposed amendments attached hereto. I beg to report.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much. Yes, Jonathan.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, the procedural matter I'm raising, and I want the Attorney General and maybe the Minister for Public Service to help explain to us, because it can save us time on the other bills. This bill seeks to, I want to read from the wordings here, that Clause 3 states that on the commencement of this act, the National Records and Archives Agency, established by the National Records and Archives Act 2001, shall be dissolved. And the procedural matter I wanted government to help us is to address us on the procedure required for government to establish a department. And if that procedure requires you to come to Parliament to establish any department that you feel as government you require to help you exercise your functions within the ministry. If that is the case, then my submission is that this bill should have provided for the repeal. Just repeal this, and it is like it doesn't exist, and then you go back to your ministry and then establish a department which can do the things you intend to do. So I wanted the Minister of Public Service and the Attorney General to address us, because it also applies to the rest of the, for you to come here and say, amend this, and we still have an act, and yet, unless there is another way out, I see that the minister wants to exercise some functions and we just repeal. That's the procedural matter I'm raising.
Let me first get guidance from Attorney General in regard to the three, dissolution of National Records and Archives agencies.
Because that's the further procedure I wanted to augment on, Madam Speaker. If the act, the purpose of the act was to establish the agency, which you are now dissolving, do you still need to have this act simply to vest some powers in the minister? Do you need an act of parliament for a minister to act?
Right Honorable Speaker,
You need an act.
you don't need an act of parliament always to vest powers in a minister. But when you have an act such as this one, which is going to require the minister to levy fees and that kind of thing, then such acts you will require the parliament to give you the power to make those levies. So not all acts, you're correct, not everything that the minister has to do has to be set out by law. But certain functions, if are going to exceed the ordinary administrative function, you'll need the law. Like in this case, I think you'll need it because you need to set fees, you need to even set regulations which are going to affect the keeping of records. So I think that's where the difference is.
The clarification I want to get from you, if the sole purpose for maintaining sections of this particular act is in respect of levying fees,
the sole purpose of maintaining this is to manage records in accordance with the law. That is the purpose of this, the records. Meaning that the minister cannot sit and administratively take action on how records are to be kept. Now, this law may seem innocuous right now. But for example, if say you got all these records of employees, for example, and you wanted to keep them, the question is, did the minister keep these records in accordance with the law? We have other records which we keep in whatever way we wish to keep. So the purpose here is for records, not just fees, for records. Thank you.
Yes, Doctor?
Right Honorable Speaker, in this report,
This law was enacted in 2001 and it came into commencement thereafter. But we don't hear the reason why the ministry never operationalized this agency. What constrained you from operationalizing? Because it is very important so that we understand what went wrong.
Okay. Aisha.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And Right Honorable Speaker, this informs the procedural point I've been raising on since we started. The defects in the law for the whole 13 bills we have here, they have the same defect. When we asked the minister to unbundle, unfortunately, they retained the same defect, and to the 10 of them, leave the 3, but to the 10, even the remedy they gave us is the same. For this particular bill, when you read the defect in the law, it has nothing to do, the defect given to us. It talks about duplication of roles, it talks about the heavy expenses, the structure payment that is not uniform, and we are speaking about an entity that never existed at all. Now I'm on a procedural issue, I'm not debating, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, is it not procedurally right, one, that for the 10 bills that are coming, we shall go and revise the defect, because the defect is not the same. Even for this particular one, the defect in the law that is given to us does not speak to the problem.
Is it a copy and paste defect?
It is the same defect for all of them. The laws cannot have the same defect. They gave us the same defect. Only these 3 have the different remedy, but the rest of the 10, even the remedy is the same. Is it not procedure right that first, as the minister will be tabling to us the certificate of implications, revises these defects? They're not the same. They cannot be the same, and remedy is not the same. Now, speaking to this one that has been read for the second time, is it not procedure right for us to go by because the chairman has ably talked about the defect, probably we substitute chairman's submission to this bill so that we move on. Otherwise, the defect given by the minister.
The chairman's report is informative. It is not. We will look at the clauses one by one. We are going to amend the clauses
so
one by one.
So my question, Right Honorable Speaker, what do we do to a bill that is
take
presented
what the
to
chairman
us?
has given you.
How do we take
because
it? Because
what the chairman is giving you is what chairman is using to amend this bill.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Attorney General can guide us how to proceed, because these are records that will stay even after us. If a person reads a law that existed,
okay,
and
now
they want
use
to
it for guidance.
Okay.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, we have one common defect in all the laws that are being brought for rationalization. It's one common defect. It would be wrong for us to say 10 laws cannot have the same wrong thing. What we are telling you here is that 10 laws brought the same problem. Proliferation of agencies, duplication, unnecessary expenditure. In this case, we set out as Parliament to make a law for an agency which was actually superfluous, because we have since realized that we continue to operate well without the law. So, that's what I'm saying. That the minister has been operating under this law. Has been operating using the functions under this law. So we are saying no, since that is what he's been doing, let the functions be put there so that we continue moving. So this is the same defect, right, honorable members?
For this particular one, Attorney General, the organization did not exist at all. How can you say a burden on a national treasury was there?
The organization existed, but it was not operating.
Motion.
Then there was no money spent on it.
That's why they are saying bring it back to the what? To the ministry. Bring it to the ministry to stop it from being a standalone agency.
Thank you.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Yes,
Thank you.
Honorable.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Tim.
Yes.
Or
Thank you.
Tim.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I feel like we are beginning to touch on some of the clauses actually being spoken about in this bill. I would like to move that we move to the committee stage where most of these issues will actually be elaborated more, because we already had some defects in the morning. It's coming to 1 o'clock and we have not processed any of these bills, and we are still moving on these issues. I would like to move that we move to the committee stage and we discuss further on some of these clauses. Thank you.
Honorable members. Honorable members.
That was a motion.
According to the rules, Rule 204, that is 5 and 6, the bill should be tabled and given 3 days. However, we are suspending that rule for us to allow the bill to be debated and either passed or not passed, whichever. Honorable both. There was a motion?
Yes, I moved the motion.
Yes, there's a motion.
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I would move a motion that we suspend Rule 204, 5 and 6 to enable this debate to take place, Right Honorable Speaker.
Seconded? Seconded by Okirori, by ED, by Education, Trade, Moma, Eva, Santa, Royal Guard, Yakol, by Honorable Polot, by Honorable Seku, by Abe, by Lee. Thank you. So we've suspended Rule 204, Sub-Rule 5 and 6. You want to debate, you debate.
Procedure, Right Honorable. Procedure, Right Honorable.
By the Honorable colleague.
There's another motion again. There's another motion. Please. Motion comes first.
Yeah, but Madam, you had not put it to vote. So if it remains on record, this proposal, it can be challenged. Either you subject it to a vote, so that if it carries the day, then the suspension
I
is
asked
done.
for secondment.
Secondment is not a voting, but.
Okay, I put a question. You know, that's why it is good to have Jonathan in the house. I put a question that Rule 204, Sub-Rule 5 and 6, in respect to suspension of the rule in respect to the debate on the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. There is only one no from Betty.
Now, Madam Speaker, the debate I wanted was to oppose the motion by my brother, who proposed that we move to the committee stage. Madam Speaker, I want to point out this very important.
Who brought a motion? He didn't. You brought it.
Madam Speaker, actually, my motion was the first that we move to the committee stage before my honorable colleague brought a second motion. And mine was not brought.
His was overtaken by Vance.
Yes.
His was overtaken by Vance. So you debate. You debate. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you very much. The bill we are dealing with, and I want the Attorney General to pay attention. I think when you retreat as government, first, I'm giving you advice. You need to do a lot of reading of the rules, because in the past, when you introduce government business like you have done, in fact, even the suspension of the rules will be done by you because you want your business processed. But you are behaving like a blind person that at every stage someone must walk you there. You forget that there are rules that must be followed. No, I didn't mean to offend my colleagues with people with disability, and I apologize.
Honorable, let's use a parliamentary language.
I apologize to people with disability. So I want to give advice, because you are making government look very shabby.
Honorable members.
Now on the...
Honorable members, let's have respect for each other. It costs you nothing to respect each other. Because when you say Honorable KK is like walking like a blind person, assuming he said the same to you, how would you feel? How would you feel? And remember, you have your voters here, up here, listening to you. And don't spoil my voters because they are not used to that language. Don't spoil my
Madam
voters.
Speaker, I did withdraw.
Give him information.
I would like to give my friend Honorable Semuju information. The Attorney General is an advisor of government and did not introduce any bill. So the mover of the bill is one who would be interested in that. But I also noted that the member who raised it comes from this side, which has government. So government, we are awake. That's why we raised it.
Madam Speaker, I don't want to make that the debate. Let me go to the substantial issues that are in the almost in all, but specifically the one before us. In this bill, Madam Speaker, proliferation of agencies, mandate overlaps, and issues of salary disparities and money. I want to begin by thanking God that this day has finally come. When government was creating in NIRA, I stood here and told the government that the continued creation of agencies was actually a vote of no confidence in the government as it existed. My proposal then, supported by the Honorable Kakoza James, was that the functions of NIRA should have been bestowed to the Citizens and Immigration Department as it existed. But God is good. The government that was saying no services nearer to the people, the same government says now this was a mistake. Maybe you should have started with an apology on behalf of those who processed the bills at that time. But most important, Madam Speaker, I read the policy statement of Minister of Finance. In the statement, they were talking about rationalization also of MDAs. The issue now, if you read the report of the Electoral Commission, the 2-year strategic plan, the Electoral Commission says at the next elections, there will be 3 million elective positions in Uganda at the next election. We have committees of youth, of women, of people with disability, LCs 1, 2, 3. So when you total all of them, there will be 3 million elective positions, and the Electoral Commission projects to spend 2 trillion shilling, 1.3 trillion on organizing elections, and then the rest. So the point I make, Madam Speaker, as we consider this National Records and Archives Amendment Bill, is that government need to be serious about rationalization. This parliament has grown. Now we can't even fit here. A new chamber has got to be constructed. The same government will come here with proposals to create constituencies. Cabinet has grown from what originally was provided in the constitution of 21 and 25 ministers to about half a secondary school. No wonder at one time the president was referring to one of the ministers as Nani. He said Nani, he couldn't even remember his ministers because they have become too many. And I use the highways. Almost every other, now and then there will be a convoy of a minister with escorts, with what. As I said, when this matter was brought here, I 100% support rationalization, but please don't do it in a piecemeal way to deal with one agency and then you go and keep quiet. We need even ministries to be merged. There are ministries, I remember when the president was transferring the Honorable Saida Bomba from finance to gender because of the compensation to Basaja Warawa. The president publicly said that I am removing her from finance to take her to this useless ministry of women. That's what the president said. If you want, you can go back to the record. So the ministries need to be...
Did you say women are useless?
No, I didn't. I am quoting the president. He said he was removing the Honorable Saida Bomba from finance, taking her to this useless ministry.
There's a procedural matter. Procedure.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The procedural matter I'm raising is in relation to the debate for the report. We should be debating a report, Right Honorable. Are we proceeding right by going into stories of women and so on, of transfer for ministers? Are we proceeding right, Right Honorable?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I concur with my honorable colleague. I feel the bill on we have right now that we are debating is actually where we should be focusing the debate. But I do feel like we are now going sideways, Madam Speaker. I'll ask for you to guide.
You know, I think there's nothing that Nani. I think there is nothing that Honorable Ibrahim wanted to talk about the bill. He just wanted to talk about it generally. And based on that, then why don't we go to the... There's a motion here. There's a motion.
But, Madam Speaker, if you can allow me just a second to conclude.
Madam Speaker, you remember from the beginning...
There's a motion.
Madam Speaker, you remember from the beginning, when the chairman was reading his report, I saw the direction very clearly that we needed to go to the committee stage. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I move a motion that the debate be suspended and we go for the committee stage where we'll discuss close by close.
Is that seconded? Is seconded by Madame Alanyo, Luca, Gabriel, by the whole house. Those in favor of suspension, of going direct the committee. Those in support of going to the committee say and the contrary nay. Ayes have it. Yes,
national-
procedure.
Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted to oppose the motion, but let me
Hey.
draw your attention. It will help us.
I didn't see, my eyes didn't see you.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, in the report, the chairperson reported that they consulted the Ministry of Public Service and a department responsible. That's all they did. The only other way that Ugandans can participate is when we allow debate on this matter. And I wanted to point out that position, that sort of members of parliament who are the representative being given time to debate at this stage the report, and then we rush and we go into the committee stage when the bills have not been adequately consulted upon. We have not been sent back as MPs to go and consult. The chairperson did not invite the stakeholders, Uganda Law Society, and whoever affected to come. The only chance to address the issue of public participation would be by allowing debate here. So I wanted to put on record so that when we get to the other stage, we don't rush.
I also want to put it on record that this same house constituted a select committee. Was it select or ad hoc? The Byanyima committee, which did extensive consultation on the bills that were brought. That is what has delayed this rationalization. We have a report from from the committee of the house. Yes,
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I came in from the Committee Defense and the Internal Affairs, came in a little late, listening to the trend, and I think you are guiding and leading us well in this regard. When a bill is before us for the debate, and a member gets up to speak and is going into what is not in the bill, and that is the debate we need. I think Honorable Dur should have been more specific in this matter. The only way the Speaker can know the interest of members to debate a bill is when we speak to the bill and we are relevant to the bill. But when you're quoting the president who is not a member of this house, these are all matters that you've already ruled, and I think a motion has been carried. We need to go to the committee stage.
Honorable members, Honorable Oboth was reacting to what Honorable Semuju was talking, not really what Odur and Honorable Dur Jonah was saying, and the motion took the day.
The National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024, Bills Committee stage. Clause 1.
I put a question that clause 1 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I put a question that clause 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 3.
I put a question that clause 3 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
Clause 4, Chair.
Right Honorable Speaker, clause 4 on amendment of Section 2 of the Principal Act. Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 4 is amended by inserting immediately after paragraph B the following. C. By inserting immediately after the definition of minister the following. Minister means a ministry responsible, ministry means a minister responsible for public service. D. In the definition of minister, by substituting for the word the administration of this act, the word public service. Justification. To define a keyword used in the act. And 2, to align the definition of minister with the definition of ministry. Thank you.
Minister.
I agree with that amendment.
Jonathan. Attorney General. Shadow.
Where, notwithstanding my area observation that we should have repeated, I have no objection.
Attorney General.
I have no objection.
I put a question that clause 4 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4 as amended.
I put a question that clause 4 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5.
I put a question that clause 5 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
I put a question that clause 6 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
Chair.
Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 7, amendment of Section 5 of the Principal Act. Clause 7 is amended by inserting immediately after paragraph B the following. C. By substituting the word director, the word ministry, and wherever it appears in the Principal Act. Justification. To substitute the word director, wherever it appears, the word ministry.
Minister.
No objection.
AG.
You can't substitute the word agency with the ministry, then director with the ministry. The best would have been to delete by way of repeat provision related to director.
Right Honorable Chair, the purpose of that amendment is to move the functions that were originally given to the director to be passed on to the ministry. So if you delete them, there will be no one who is running that function. We propose that the amendment as proposed by the committee be carried.
Honorable Nwagaba, you.
Then instead of minister, it should be minister.
Instead of ministry, it should be that instead of ministry, it should be minister.
No, this particular one has been moved to the ministry, in which case the ministry will be able to carry out its internal administrative functions to know whether it's a department, a directorate, and etc. So this is to the ministry,
I concede.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 7 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7 as amended.
I put a question that clause 7 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
Deletion.
Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 8 on the amendment of the Act of the Principal Act. Clause 8 is deleted. And the justification is that it's a consequential amendment of Clause 7.
Honorable Nwagaba.
That's the proper position.
Honorable Minister.
I concede.
Attorney General.
I have no objection.
I put a question that clause 8 be deleted as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
I put a question that clause 9 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
New clause.
New clause.
Right Honorable Speaker, insertion of new clause immediate after clause 9. The bill is amended by inserting immediately after clause 9 the following. Amendment of section 7 of the Principal Act. Section 7 of the Principal Act is amended by by substituting for paragraph A the following. A, ensuring that a senior officer is designated to superintend the action taken in each organ of state in respect of this act. Justification. For clarity and to ensure that a senior officer is designated for that purpose.
Honorable Minister.
No objection.
Honorable Nwagaba.
No objection.
AG.
No objection.
I put a question that the proposed new clause stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 10.
I put a question that clause 10 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
New clause.
New clause.
Right Honorable Speaker, insertion of a new clause immediately after clause 10. The bill is amended by inserting immediately after clause 10 the following. Amendment of section 9 of the Principal Act. Section 9 of the Principal Act is amended by substituting for the words chairpersons of boards the words accounting officers. Justification is for clarity. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Minister.
No objection.
Honorable Nwagaba.
I think the justification should be for harmony, but it's okay.
Honorable AG.
No objection.
I put a question that proposed new clause stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
I put a question that clause 11 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
I put a question that clause 12 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
I put a question that clause 13 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
14. You have an amendment. I put a question that clause 14 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
Right Honorable Speaker, my sincere apologies on behalf of the committee. On clause 14. On clause 14, amendment of section 18 of the Principal Act.
We are not, no, I didn't say the ayes have it because I knew there was an amendment.
Thank you, Right
You can
Honorable
amend.
Speaker. Clause 14 of the bill is substituted with the following. Section 18 of the Principal Act is amended. A, in subsection 1 by substituting for the words is or are the words it. B, in subsection 3 by substituting for the words he or she the word it, and for the words section 25 and 31 the words are section 31. Justification: to remove a repeal cross-reference from the provision and to correct the grammar. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minister. It is basically on grammar.
No objection.
Honorable Wilfred.
No objection.
AG.
No objection.
I put a question that clause 14 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14 as amended.
I put a question that clause 14 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
15. I put a question that clause 15 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 16.
16. I put a question that clause 16 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 17.
17.
Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 17, amendment of Section 31 of the Principal Act. Clause 17 of the bill is substituted with the following. Section 31 of the Principal Act is substituted with the following. 31. Regulations. The minister may make regulations prescribing all matters that are required or permitted by this act to be prescribed or which are necessary or convenient to be prescribed, including the fees to be charged for the supply of copies, the certification of copies, and the provision of other services under this act by the ministry. And the justification is to specifically provide for the prescription of fees to be charged by the ministry.
Honorable Minister.
No objection.
Winfred.
No objection.
AJ.
No objection.
I put a question that clause 7 be amended as 17 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 17 as amended.
I put a question that clause 17 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 18.
I put a question that clause 18 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19.
I put a question that clause 19 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 20.
I put a question that clause 20 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
Title. I put a question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that the House do resume and the Committee of the whole House reports thereto. I beg to move.
I put a question that the House resumes and the Committee of the whole House reports thereto. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. You know, it is fun to have people like Semuju in the house. I would be so bored if I didn't have Honorable Semuju.
Report of the Committee of the whole House.
Actually, Nani, when you go to Rome, when you go to Mecca, I will be bored here. We should go together. Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that I beg to report that the Committee of the whole House has considered the bill entitled the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 and passed it with some amendments. I beg to report.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted. I beg to move.
I put a question that the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted by this House. Those in favor say the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Bill's third reading, the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 be read the third time and do pass. I beg to move.
I put a question that the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 be read and the third time and do pass. Those in favor say the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act titled the National Records and Archives Amendment Act 2024.
The title is settled and the bill has been passed. Congratulations. Honorable Government Chief Whip, I told you to organize your house.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, subject to the provisions of Rule 140 of the Rules of Procedure of this House on withdrawal of bills, and subject to the guidance that the House has given, I wish to state on behalf of government and also give notice that the following bills stand to be withdrawn by the respective sector ministers, sector by sector. One is the rationalization of government agencies, Education Sector Amendment Bill 2024.
Yes, procedure.
Madam Speaker, while I have no problem with withdrawing and having the bills properly tabled, I need your guidance as to whether the Chief Whip can withdraw bills that were presented here by individual ministers.
No, what the Government Chief Whip is saying, he's reporting on behalf of government and is going to ask individual ministers to withdraw their bills.
Madam Speaker, as you're guiding, perhaps to clarify, because you're saying he is going to inform the individual ministers to withdraw. The Government Chief Whip seems to be withdrawing himself. Maybe if we can have that clarified.
No, that is not what he has said. He said he's going to call the ministers, he's going to assign each minister. He's the leader of those ministers. He's going to call the sponsors to withdraw.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, for clarity, let me restate what I started with.
The problem you must have gone to.
No, Right Honorable Speaker.
The best school.
I went to typically the rural primary school in Ajuri County. But here I find myself in the capital city of Uganda, in the temple of legislation. Right Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Rule 140 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament and subject to the guidance granted by this House, government wishes to give notice
Madam Speaker, Rule 140 is very specific. Let me read for the benefit of the government whip. A member in charge of a bill, may at any time give notice. There is no provision that an omnibus notice can be given by anyone. Is the government whip in order to misinterpret deliberately the rules of this parliament such that he does a function that is not bestowed upon him? Is he in order?
Honorable members, there is what they call government, and government is government. There is a leader of all these ministers. The leader of all these ministers is the government chief whip as of now, and is only calling upon his ministers to withdraw their bills. He's not the one going to withdraw. Why don't you wait and see whether Obua is going to withdraw the bill himself? Obua is going to call the people to withdraw their bills. Now, he's giving you a preamble. He's giving you a preamble of how why the bills are going to be withdrawn by the specific ministers.
Absolutely.
He's not going to withdraw.
Right, Honorable Speaker, you guided that I also guide the process. Secondly, for us on this side, we operate on the basic principle of collective responsibility. And thirdly, the government chief whip now represents the leader of government business in parliament. And fourthly, our rules do stop us from anticipation. Allow me finish and wait if it is Obua who is going to withdraw. I will guide the process. The commanders are here. You can see them assembled and on standby class 1 to proceed. Right, Honorable Speaker, government wishes through the respective sector ministers, following the guidance of this House, to withdraw the following bills, and I hereby give notice that the following bills will be withdrawn by the respective sector ministers. 1, the rationalization of government agencies, Education Sector Amendment Bill 2024. 2, the rationalization of government agencies, Trade Sector Amendment Bill 2024. 3, the rationalization of government agencies, Works and Transport Sector Amendment Bill 2024. 5, the rationalization of government agencies, Social Development Sector Amendment Bill 2024. 6, the rationalization of government agencies, Tourism Sector Amendment Bill 2024. 7, Right, Honorable Speaker, that marks the end of all bills that were lumped up together sector by sector. May I therefore, with your permission, proceed
Finance
to invite
sector. Finance sector. Finance sector.
Oh, apologies, Right Honorable Speaker. The others are the rationalization of government agencies, Internal Affairs Sector Amendment Bill 2024, the rationalization of government agencies, Finance Sector Amendment Bill 2024, the rationalization of government agencies, Water and Environment Sector Amendment Bill 2024, the rationalization of government agencies, Agriculture Sector Amendment Bill 2024. Those are the sectors that were skipped. May I therefore, with your guidance, proceed to notify the House and equally invite the respective sector ministers to withdraw the bills that I have highlighted. Thank you.
Honorable. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Chief Whip for the presentation on the bills to be withdrawn. Madam Speaker, I'm also aware that the Karamoja Development Agency Act is one of those that needs to be withdrawn because the certificate before the committee does not, according to us.
Are you a chairperson of the committee?
I was a witness before the committee, and that was the position of the
Can
committee.
we first have this one withdrawn, then we sort out the other one? Just like what Honorable Dur had said before. If you find it is defective, then let it come back from the committee chair.
Madam Chair, I thought we were doing this harmoniously because it should actually, according to Public Finance Act 76, we have read, it should the agency
Honorable Dur,
financial implications.
can you first make a clarification again? Can we have the ministers first withdraw, then the rest come?
The Minister of Education and Sports.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the rationalization of government agencies, education sector, amendment bill 2024 be withdrawn. I submit.
What have you read? What have you read?
Right Honorable Speaker.
You read as it is, the rationalization of government agencies.
The rationalization of
education
government
sector.
agencies, education sector, amendment bill 2024 be withdrawn. Right Honorable Speaker.
Those in favor say on the contrary nay for the withdrawal. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives.
Trade.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the rationalization of government agencies, trade sector amendment bill 2024 be withdrawn.
Those in favor of the withdrawal of the bill say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Internal Affairs.
Procedure, Madam
Internal Affairs. Yes, Betty.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, whatever we do here is captured by the Hansard. And I don't know whether it would be procedural okay for ministers to start withdrawing bills without stating the reason why they are withdrawing them. And then, Right Honorable Speaker.
The reasons were already stated before you came. Next.
The Minister of Internal Affairs.
Internal Affairs.
Right Honorable Speaker.
She's a leader of government business.
I beg to move that the bill entitled The Rationalization of Government Agencies, Minister of Internal Affairs, be withdrawn. I beg to move.
I put a question that those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development.
Finance. You're a shadow minister of finance. It is the same with you. You people.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled Rationalization of Government Agencies Financial Sector 2024 be withdrawn.
Amendment Bill 2024.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled Rationalization of Government Agencies Finance Sector Amendment Bill 2024 be withdrawn.
Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Water and Environment.
Now, the work of Honorable Betty is to say, with apologies after every bill. So we have assigned you to say that. Water.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the nationalization, the bill, the rationalization of government agents bill, agents
Honorable members, you listen. She's saying rationalization. You see,
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled The Rationalization of Government Agencies, the Water and Environment Sector Amendment Bill 2024 be withdrawn. I beg to move.
those in favor of the withdrawal as requested by the minister say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries.
Agriculture. Agriculture. The shadow minister of agriculture wants to withdraw.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled The Rationalization of Government Agencies, Agricultural Sector be withdrawn. I beg to move.
Those in favor of the withdrawal as requested by the minister say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Works and Transport.
Works. I saw General Katumba here. Works.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled The Rationalization of Government Agencies, Works and Transport Sector be withdrawn.
Amendment Bill 2024.
Yes, Amendment Bill 2024 be withdrawn. I beg to move.
Those in favor of the withdrawal as requested by the minister say aye and to the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development.
Gender. Helen, you can do it from there.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Bill on Rationalization of Government Agencies, Social Development Sector Amendment Bill 2024 be withdrawn. Thank you.
Those in favor of the withdrawal as requested by the minister say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The
Thank
Minister
you.
of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities.
Tourism.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the rationalization of government agencies tourism sector amendment bill 2024 be withdrawn.
Those in favor of the withdrawal as requested by the minister, say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, the bills have been withdrawn and they will be brought. Which one? Honorable members, these bills have been withdrawn and will wait for the respective ministers to come and retable them when they are ready. We'll wait for you, ministers, to come and present them, and the rest of the committees with the reports should continue, and they will advise us on when they are ready. I am now adjourn the House to 2 tomorrow.
Your kids are still young.